Alexander Isak, I completely understand where you're coming from. As a Liverpool fan, I've experienced this more times than you probably could imagine. With Torres, I experienced it. Torres wanted a team with a clear plan, a team that could challenge for trophies, a team that he felt comfortable in. He wasn't getting that at Liverpool. He wanted that at Chelsea. He forced his way out. Luis Suarez, media scrutiny. He was being called all types of things in the media every single week. Liverpool weren't challenging, and he wanted to be on a competitive team. And then the contract issues. So he left Liverpool. Coutinho, I want big trophies. I want to play for the best club in the world, etc., etc. Liverpool didn't want to let Coutinho go, but Jurgen Klopp eventually said, you know what? If your player doesn't want to play for my club, he can leave. And we use that money to build our best Premier League team ever. Okay? So Alexander Isak, I understand where he's coming from. Okay? In all those scenarios, as a Liverpool fan, yes, I'm upset that they left initially and the way that they left, but I understand from a player's perspective why they did what they did. If you're somebody you've ever worked a job, specifically a job in your adulthood, you understand what it feels like to feel miserable at your job, or feel like you're at a dead-end job, or feel like nothing's working out for you, and I need to go somewhere else, I need to leave. And most of us have done it where we've left a job. We've quit a job. Some of us have also been fired from a job. So you understand both perspectives of this. For Isak, him saying that he wanted a new contract last year, he expected to be the highest paid player in the... First of all, he's the best player in the club. We all recognize that there's no player in Newcastle that is better at their position than Isak is at his position. He's the best player in the club. All right, so he deserves, maybe not what he wants, but he deserves to be the highest paid player in the club. I think it was on £150 a week, which for a player of his caliber is too low. Right, those type of players are 250, 300 plus a week, right? So he felt like the club betrayed him in that sense. Wouldn't you feel a certain way if you were promised a promotion or you were told you're gonna get a promotion, and then your company's like, never mind. Actually, we ran into financial issues. They can say whatever they want, but they promised you a promotion. They promised you a 10% raise on your salary, and you don't get it. And then a few months later, you see your coworker, Anthony Gordon, get a raise. And you're like, so where's the money coming from now? I thought there was a different vision. I thought something was, why is he getting a raise, but I, the best player in the club, I'm not getting a raise? Guy with the most goals, guy with the most stats, guy that's contributed to us winning the most. I'm not getting a raise, but he's getting a raise. And it's no shade to Gordon, but it's what Newcastle did. So for the entire season, last season, it's like felt betrayed. And understandably so. Anybody watching this video, if that happened to you, you would also feel betrayed. But the fact is, yes, the initial disappointment from the beginning of the season carried on. He wasn't scoring, but he picked it up throughout the season. I had no idea that this was even happening throughout the season. It wasn't until I started researching why he's so angry at Newcastle that I found this out. So he didn't let it hurt his performances for the better part of the season. Contributed every big game, scored in the Carabao Cup final, and still told Newcastle before the season ended, hey, I want to leave. You have ample time to find replacements. You have ample time to sign whoever you want to sign, and do whatever you need to do, so I can leave and go to the club of my dreams, Liverpool. And Newcastle is trying to hold him hostage, like, oh, you're bound to a contract. You have to see out your contract. The same contract that you didn't want to give me an increase on my salary, but now you want to give me an increase on my salary a year after you promised to do so, a year after you gave an increase to another player's salary. Why would I now want to sign that? You've already broken the promise. You've broken the trust. I stayed here to be respectful, to do my job, but now that I have no obligation to play competitive matches, I don't want to play for this club again. I have nothing to do with this club again. And it's literally because you broke I feel like if Newcastle had given him that salary increase when they promised to do so, even if he wanted to go to Liverpool, right, he still would have respected his contract. He would have respected his contract. I don't think he would have been so passionate about leaving to Liverpool this season if they had, stayed true to their promise. but they didn't. So how can you blame Isak for the way he's going to? I can understand people might say, oh, he's moving like a brat. But from my perspective, I've never seen Isak to be this kind of player. Just be someone that's bratty or he's always whenever I watch him in games, he's always kept his head down. He's always tried. He's always been hardworking. He's never had like a childish attitude. But look, this is what happens when you repeatedly frustrate people in private and they bring it out in public. Right? If you've ever been in a relationship and your partner is doing all these sorts of terrible things to you in private, and you're not saying anything, eventually you snap, and people are like, "Why is he going crazy? Why is she going crazy?" Because of all the things I went through in private. I didn't say anything, but I was suffering in silence. That's what Isak was doing. So where do we go from here? Newcastle. First of all, I understand every player has rejected you, and you feel like you can't sign the players that you want, but you have to let this guy go. At this point, he's a negative in your club. He doesn't offer anything in your club anymore. He doesn't want to play for your club. I think he's already sold his house or he moved out of his house. He has no intentions of ever playing for. He would rather sit out the rest of the year than step foot on the pitch for you guys again. It makes no sense. Get your money's worth now, because I promise you, you will not get as much money next year. Get your money's worth now. Liverpool, we fought it. We didn't want to continue to leave. Eventually, we let him leave. And we built the best club, the best team our club has ever seen in the Premier League. Let him leave. Rebuild your team. Strengthen your squad. Just accept that it's over. Why do we, and for football fans, why do we go so hard against players that do such things? Right? When Ruben Amorim froze out players and said, "You're not playing for this club again. I want you gone. Find a new club," etc., etc. People were like, "Oh wow, he's so strong. He's so imagine that knows what he wants. He doesn't mess about. He doesn't." We applauded him for that. But now when Isak says, "I want to exercise my power," now it's an issue. Those Amorim players, and many managers do this too. I don't want this player playing for my club again. I don't want to see him on the pitch for my club again. They don't say it publicly, but they do it privately. They frustrate players privately, right? They could do that. A player can have 2-3 years on his contract still. But a manager still has the right to do that. A club still has the right to do that and say, "We want to sell you. We want to get rid of you. You're not giving us what we want. You need to leave. But I have a contract to honor, but you want me to leave. Okay, I'll leave." But when Isak does it, I have a contract to honor, but I don't trust the club. You've broken promises. I want to leave. Now it's an issue. Now it's an issue. Of course he has to throw a tantrum. Players don't have the power to maneuver in a certain way that clubs can or managers can. Managers can play you every single week for 10 minutes and then sell you at the end of the season. And people will be like, "Oh, is there something?" A player can't do that. It's either they start you or they bench you. Like, you don't have the control to be, So he has to do something. And it's gone to this boiling point because of the broken promises, because of what Newcastle said they would do, didn't do. Isak still said, "Okay, I'll do my best for the club. And when it's time to leave, let me leave amicably. I will get you a club record fee. I'll get you a Premier League record fee. And I'll go to my dream club. You get all the funds you need to replace me with 2-3 players. 2-3. That's 350 million signings, basically, almost. That's enough for you to replace what Isak is giving you. But it's an issue. And Newcastle have handled themselves embarrassingly, in my opinion, in this whole negotiation, in this whole debacle, or whatever you want to call it. That's not me coming from speaking as a Liverpool fan because I want Isak in my club. That's just speaking from what I think about football business. It looks bad, and maybe that's why no player wants to sign for Newcastle. Maybe it's your karma for mistreating Isak for a year. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe you're getting what you deserve because of the way you conducted yourself. If you'd been respectful to the player throughout this process, I think maybe players would have been like, "You know what? I respect Newcastle. I see what they're doing. I see what they're building. Let me go there and join them." Because look, Marco Asensio went to Aston Villa on loan. Marcus Rashford went to Aston Villa on loan. Big players, top 4, top big European players will go to these less than, top 6 teams. They will go play for them. I don't want to hear that nobody wants to go play for Newcastle. People will go play for Newcastle. Bruno Guimaraes plays for Newcastle. Like, players will go to... Paqueta plays for West Ham. Cunha played for Wolves. So don't tell me players don't want to play for Newcastle. They will. You have the money. You can pay them. You have the Champions League. You should have enough pull. If a player is not being courted by any of the top, 4, 5, 6 teams, then you have free reign to that player. But somehow, some way, they don't want to join you. And I have a feeling why. At the end of the day, I think Isak eventually leaves Newcastle. You can't hold a player hostage. Even if you did it for 6 months, in January, he'll still leave. You just can't do that anymore. I don't know if you could ever do that, but as long as I'm a football fan, you really can't hold players hostage. So he's going to leave. But if he doesn't leave this summer, he's going to leave for less money. Let's just being honest. Because he's not going to play. A player that hasn't played for 6 months is not going to be worth what he was 6 months ago. It's just not going to be possible. So let's see what happens with Newcastle. Let's see how they replace him because he's leaving. And he's going to Liverpool at some point. I think, I hope, I wish. So let's see how it all unfolds. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Isak situation from a Liverpool perspective, from an Isak perspective, from a Newcastle perspective. What are you kind of thinking about all sides? Like, who's right, who's wrong, who's handling this well, who's handling this bad? Give your opinion on all of that. Like the video. And of course, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys very, very soon. The Premier League starts this week. I will be recapping Liverpool's game. I will be recapping all the big games throughout the season. I'll be kind of doing like a quick fire recap of the match weeks as the season goes on. And I'm excited. This channel is new. It's fresh, and you guys have been supportive, and you've been more than enough. So I'm grateful to all of you, and let's continue growing this channel. Let's continue growing this community, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Peace out.